Grandpa Joy never thought humiliation would come from inside his own home. But that evening, standing in his son's living room, holding a plate of cold food while his daughter-in-law screamed in his face, he realized something inside him had finally snapped. And what he did after that left the entire family speechless. The moment that changed everything happened in front of 10 guests. "You're a disgrace, Joy," Emily yelled, jabbing her finger into his chest. "You can't even dress properly for a simple dinner. You embarrass us every time." A hush fell over the room. Grandpa Joy stood frozen, wearing his old plaid shirt and worn shoes. He had come straight from volunteer work at the community garden. He hadn't expected a formal dinner. He hadn't even been told there was one. Everyone stared at him, some in pity, some in shock, and Emily in pure contempt. Instead of breaking him, those words awakened a side of Grandpa Joy no one had seen before. Joy had always been a gentle soul. After his wife passed away, he focused on helping others, fixing neighbors' fences, teaching kids how to plant vegetables, repairing old toys, and giving them to families who couldn't afford new ones. He asked for nothing in return, just family. But ever since his son Mark married Emily, everything changed. Emily believed in status, appearances, and social polish. To her, Joy was an old, embarrassing reminder of a past she wanted to hide. She never said it out loud until that night. The dining table was elegantly set, candles glowing, soft jazz in the background. Joy had walked in smiling, but Emily's smile faded the second she saw his clothes. "Dad, you couldn't change," Mark whispered, embarrassed. Joy apologized softly. "I didn't know, son. If you needed help with dinner, I could have." Emily cut him off, louder this time. "Help? You can barely help yourself. You're a disgrace to this family. I'm sick of you showing up dressed like a farmer." The room gasped. Joy's hands trembled around the plate, not from fear, but realization. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't accidental. This was who Emily truly was. He placed the plate down slowly. "Excuse me," he whispered, then walked out. Everyone thought he left because he was hurt. But the truth, he left because he had made a decision. The next morning, Grandpa Joy woke before sunrise. He dressed in his best clothes, not expensive, but clean and ironed. Then he drove to the place he spent most of his time, the Joy Community Garden. It wasn't just land. It was 15 acres of donated space filled with vegetables, fruit trees, benches, and small playgrounds. Hundreds of families relied on it for free produce. Schools brought children there for field trips. Seniors visited for fresh air and company. And the best part, Joy had built it from scratch over 15 years, using his savings and community donations. People didn't know the land was actually in his name. By noon, dozens of volunteers had gathered, many having heard what happened the night before. "Joy, we heard Emily yelled at you," an elderly woman said. "Are you okay?" Joy smiled calmly. "I'm fine, but it's time we grow something new." The volunteers looked confused. The following weekend, Joy invited his entire family to the garden. Emily didn't want to go, but Mark insisted. When they arrived, they were stunned. Hundreds of people were gathered. A stage was set up. Banners read, 10-year anniversary, Joy Community Garden. Emily whispered, "He organizes events." Mark shrugged, "I guess so." The event began. Kids spoke about how Joy taught them to plant seeds. Single mothers talked about how the garden fed their families when they had nothing. Seniors spoke about how the place saved them from loneliness. Emily kept shifting, uncomfortable. Finally, Joy stepped onto the stage. He looked calm, dignified, and steady. "Thank you all for being here," he began. "This garden was built with love, labor, and community. For years, I never wanted recognition, but something happened recently, something that reminded me that I've allowed people to misunderstand who I am." The crowd murmured. I was called a disgrace, and it hurt, not because the words were true, but because I allowed someone to believe I had nothing to offer. Emily froze. Then Joy pulled out a folder, And so today, I want to make something very clear. He opened it. The city has offered to partner with this garden and expand it into a full community center. I am donating all the land, yes, my land, to the community in my wife's name, who always believed in kindness. Gasps filled the area, Emily's jaw dropped, Mark looked stunned, the audience erupted in applause. Joy continued, looking straight at Emily. I may wear old shirts, I may not know fancy etiquette, but I will never be a disgrace to those who value heart over appearances. Being a disgrace isn't about clothes, it's about how you treat people. The cheers grew louder. Emily turned red, then pale. After the ceremony, reporters approached Joy. The mayor congratulated him. Children hugged his legs. Finally, Mark walked up. Dad, I never knew you owned all this. Why didn't you say anything? Joy smiled, because real value doesn't need to be announced. Emily approached next, voice trembling. Joy, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have spoken to you that way. I didn't know. Joy raised a hand gently. You shouldn't respect people because of what they own. You should respect them because of who they are. Emily lowered her head. For the first time, tears filled her eyes, not of sadness, but of shame. That evening, Joy returned home to find a handwritten note on his porch. Thank you for the lesson. I needed it more than I realized. Grandpa Joy folded the note, smiled, and whispered, sometimes the seeds you plant aren't in soil, but in people. And that day, the entire family understood one thing. The man Emily once called a disgrace turned out to be the greatest pride of their lives.